Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity upper right corner. We got White starting as the White Protoss, very player appropriate. Upper left hand corner we got Nesh starting as the Pink Terran, very confident in his masculinity. Support the pink. In Europe, it's actually something, I don't know what happened in the US where pink isn't a masculine color, it's red, right? It's like light red. In fact, I remember in elementary school when I wanted pink, I would just take the red crayon and I would just move very softly with it. But anyway, I digress. We did it backwards from the rest of the world. Yeah, other places, red tends to be the masculine color and blue tends to be the feminine color. Go figure. Flexible, fluid, odd gender norms. This is going to be on Polestar Game 1. I have to think that in this best of 3 Nesh, that White is somewhat frustrated because Game 1, he had Nesh on the rails. If it was a WWE match, it'd be one of those things where he's like sitting there and he's kind of cocky at the camera or whatever, and the ref's just sitting there waiting for him to give the 3 count. But then in WWE style, Nesh got right back up and somehow turned it around. And I will admit, like, it's a kind of a long shot situation when you hunker down on 3 bases and you look to sneak back into it. But Nesh did all sorts of action. Dropships once again played very, very heavily to his favor in these matches, and he pulled it out and looked very, very strong, closing it out as well. It's interesting. I wish I had more White replays, but I also want to say that White, on top of Worst and some of these other guys, he's also looking pretty solid in these matches, and he definitely looks like he belongs up here in Gosuleague as well. As another side comment, Gateway and Assimilator along this edge, he just was macroing fantastically. Refinery going ahead and getting was that a 10 refinery? I think probably. Lost track of it. Barracks going ahead and getting plopped down from Nesh as well, making his way out onto the map. We'll see where he decides to scout. Is White going to go ahead and drop that cybernetics core before initial zealot? Looks like he is going to go ahead and drop that core. And is he going to invest in his zealot as well? Looks like he is going to skip the initial zealot potentially and get that Dragoon out instead to start. Nesh scouting bottom left. In theory, unless he goes cross map from the bottom left hand scout, is going to end up late to White's base. He should have the Dragoon. Theoretically, he should have the Dragoon out shortly to provide support. Supply depots creating that nice little zealot wall, and we got that factory at a very crisp 233. That was a pretty fast factory plant, and it looks like, unfortunately for White, he went bottom left hand corner as well. This Marine is providing room for him to potentially be able to sneak in. Dragoon is queued up, and I think this is just me eyeballing it, but I think Nesh might just barely sneak into that front. 3 Marines queued up from Nesh. He has just got the single SCV on gas, which suggests we're going to see 3 Marine Vulture potentially mine into expansion. Yeah, I just have, this is gonna, if I'm right about this, this is like pure commentator feel and eyeballing it. Oh, he would have made, where is he going, Nesh? Nesh, where are you going? Oh, okay. I just want to point out, I would have been right. I would have been correct. And Nesh now all of a sudden doesn't have, he just queued it on a tab and didn't queue it far enough up, so now the SCV's going bottom right and he's going to have to end around. He did build 4 Marines. He's going for 5. He's going for additional. Okay, this is interesting. Was that intentional? No, that was definitely not intentional. Probe sitting at the 12 o'clock. Oh, excuse me. Sneeze commentary. Special one. Second gateway dropped here from White if this is turning into FD, which it's maybe looking like it's going to. We got mines. We got 6 Marines queued up this time. And several Vultures. It looks like it's going to be a heavy Vulture Marine move out. Just a bunker being plopped down to kind of fake things out. And White may be thinking about some proxy tech himself. SCV dies, notices there's no natural. A Marine is moving out onto the map. Interestingly enough. Why is the Marine? Does Nesh have this sniffed out? With the lack of natural expansion? I guess seeing the lack of natural on the timing, he's just like, yeah, there's got to be some sort of hidden tech potentially out on the map. So the Marine forward, he's dropped the command center. So canceled a lot of the Marine construction, dropped the command center instead, has 4 in the bunker, and is going to wander up and see that pylon. I think this is more a Nesh pylon. That's actually what I'm going to call this. Nesh currently grouping up. That Marine's definitely going to get slotted. And what I mean by a Nesh pylon is I don't think this is for proxy tech. I think this is to deal with what could inevitably be a drop. And so I think White is playing this a little bit like a Protoss, and he's thinking like, okay, good Mind Scatter, by the way, out here to the front. So I think he's thinking, let's plop that pylon there so we see dropships making their this way, this direction, if there was in fact a dropship, because Nesh does so often go for dropship style play. Mines out to the corner just in case. Here, I'm wondering if the vultures are going to continue out to the forward edge. There are some dragoons nearby, and there could be, with a little bit of a step in, there could be kind of a gap close, but without the additional probe, I gotta presume Nesh is going to play a little bit more defensively. White has that first observer out. Did he skip range for that? I don't think he skipped range. I think he's got range. The dragoons have played very passively up to this stage. The vultures have managed to find kind of an angle around. There's still 4 dragoons to the front, but there's not a lot of clutter towards the main. So I do believe that these vultures are going to be able to slide in. They're going to be able to confirm the lack of a natural expansion up yet, and they're going to be able to get all the way in and pick off some probes. This is disaster for White. He also went very heavy dragoon on top of everything else to try to prevent precisely this. And wow, Nesh got a lot of probe kills extremely rapidly, just able to float right in on top of it. One downside for Nesh is he does not have a lot. Okay, he's got siege tanks kind of. This is clever placement. Okay, he's placing them in the north with that pylon to the 12 o'clock in anticipation of a potential drop. This could be disastrous for Nesh if White groups up, assaults the mines, and goes on, just quick attacks that bunker. He's got to clear that very, very quickly, though. We do have a Wraith, so we'll see if Nesh now trades that back down. We don't have siege tech yet. Several SCVs are pulling off the line to blockade. I think Nesh recognizes a potential scary aspect in the spaces that the Marines are now back in the bunker. We do have a shuttle, which surprises me. Okay, so we got a shuttle out here to drop on the main. It's just going to be a Dragoon and 2 Zealots, but that might be enough to create some havoc. So a pseudo Bulldog, usually with a pure Bulldog, you got more Zealots out in the space of this. But Nesh may be prepared for this. The Dragoon's making the way in. The SCVs are already off the line. Wraith drops pretty rapidly, but it's already done its job. Group repair on that bunker. Siege tech is finished. The Marines, however, exposed to a lot of fire, but with the 3 siege tanks here at the natural expansion, Nesh has kept a very healthy SCV count in the midst of this. Another turret getting dropped, and you can just see from the saturation in white space, he's playing very, 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 very far behind. At least he got the observer in and might be able to migrate that to the north to get information to Nesh's base. Nesh is a little bit light. He's got 4 SCV that are kind of hanging out in no man's land and being lazy bums and need to get back to the edge. That does drop him to a 31 count, but he's still looking very, very comfortable. And it looks like he just now recognized that positioning. Now White's in trouble. He needs to expand rapidly, maybe even twice rapidly, and just really macro as quickly as possible. Get that probe count sailing again and hope to play to the mid game. In the meantime, Nesh dropping an academy to get eyes, but also critically dropping this armory. And let's see if he drops the second armory fairly quickly afterwards. Never mind, he's going up to 4 factories. So I thought what he might do is stick on a lighter factory count, drop a additional armory, and play upgrade turn from here, recognizing that he's got the economic lead. Instead, it looks like he is going to, he's not going up to 5, but he is going to go up to 4, again with another dropship potentially. And this is where this pylon could be a big, big help. And this observer will also be a big, big help. A secondary problem here, though, is Nesh already knows that pylon is at the 12 o'clock location. However, I think seeing that blink, White is going to be able to see that dropship as it's making its way out onto the map. And also he's getting a good look at the factory count. Unfortunately, the factory count isn't really going to help him out a lot as far as eyes on it, simply because he doesn't have a sizable economy to make anything happen out of it. Is he gonna, did White respond in time to reposition Dragoons to the north is the next question. Another shuttle out. Do we have DTs building? That would maybe be a play. Maybe it's just shuttles to try to shuttle bomb after the fact. A later 5th factory in the space of this, that shuttle is going to the south. I think White has eyes on it. A Marine somehow got out here on the map from much, much earlier. So it never died at the 12 o'clock. No, I remember that one getting picked off. How did this Marine get out on the map? Probe gets the kill. It's tasted blood. Look out. That drew some units back towards the 3 o'clock. Some vultures are folding out. So Nesh missing no opportunities as soon as those dragoons pulled out. Immediately fielding some vultures out here. Is he going to trade the vultures for a siege tank? Dropping a ComSat as well to get an eye on saturation, but critically to see whether there's a second gas up or not. With a lack of second gas, he knows that it's going to be a more heavy gateway composition here out of white, and that he's most likely sitting in a fairly comfortable position. Sees the dropship, or the shuttle I should say, is able to get some mines planted at the very least, so the Zealot's going to get the drag on it. Looks like they actually got cleared, but with that distraction, we've got another drop. Is it even going to go for the third? It looks like it's heading all the way up to the main. Let's see how much it's able to get. Do we have mines here? We have some mines. They're going to drop as well. Unfortunately, okay, we got two zealots, a probe, and that's about it from this drop. But it did keep white very much on the defense. The probes actually pulled completely out of the 3 o'clock position towards the main, anticipating an assault there. Maybe they were anticipating siege tank fire over the edge. I don't think there were a lot of kills. Might have missed a siege tank splash hit. This needs to get evicted sooner rather than later here for Nesh. He has dropped that second armory, so he's kind of in an odd pseudo upgrade Terran style here. He's got the supply lead, which is an absolute disaster for white. These two siege tanks have not left their post since that earlier Dragoon assault, and I'm wondering what white's play is here. I think his best option might just get a lot of zealots and try to hammer this. Nesh sneaking into the 3 o'clock. Oh man. Before there are any cannons online. Looks like one cannon is almost online, but he is completely raked over. Every last probe. Never mind, one. Nope, that's it. Got them all. One spawned. As they spawn, getting wiped out with their last breath. Oof. So white is still effectively locked into 2 bases, and I think he's got to recognize that he's so far behind. Yeah, just going to GG right there. That he should just make a one last shot at the main is what I was going to say with the armies he's got, and try to play from there, but just going to GG out. Nesh has taken the series, and I think I already preloaded the bracket. I did spoil this game for myself, to be honest. So, sorry, not that. We're going to move on to the bracket stage, which is the round of 12. Nesh, with this win, with all of the withdraws, it actually puts him in 4th place. So Wizard came out first, Worst second, Lancer third, Nesh 4th. So they all get buys in the initial stages. Kiko versus, and then the Wizard coming out in the top position, he gets the lowest seeds. So Dentarg, white actually withdrew after this match. Dentarg fills in for him. He's going to face Pauline. The winner of that plays Wizard. Jedi 1 versus Favorite is going to go up against Worst. That's a killer setup for Worst, honestly. Then you have Streamline versus Erob. I'm wondering if that's based on wins and losses versus what's happened in the match. But anyway, Streamline versus Erob will go against Lancer X, and then Kiko versus Ball. They had the highest record, so they're going to go against I believe the lowest seed, Nesh here. And we will continue the final bracket from there. Hope you guys are looking forward to it and have enjoyed this series thus far. Thanks for listening.